first Roman troops entered the Iberian Peninsula in 218 BC. Native inhabitants, such as the Lusitanian shepherd warrior Viriato, put up strong resistance. Viriato became known as the Terra Romanorum, terror of the Romans. "30 years after the French Duke William of Normandy invaded England, Henry, Duke of Burgundy, was starting to extend his earldom to where Moors and Christians were fighting over western Iberian territories. In 1128, Henry's son, Afonso Henrique, became first king of Portugal, establishing a royal capital at the heavily fortified city of Guimarães in the north of Portugal. He was helped by Crusaders and Templars to seize Lisbon and Santarém further south. Dom Dinis was known as the Troubadour King. His queen, Isabel, is remembered in a legend, the Miracle of the Roses. Queen Isabel was greatly concerned for the sick and the poor. She would visit them secretly, carrying bread for them beneath her cloak. One day, when she was asked what she had hidden there, by a miracle, she was able to reveal not bread, but a cloak full of roses. An important battle in the history of the Portuguese monarchy was fought against Castilian armies at Aljubarrota in August 1385. Don João, or John, master of the military religious order of Avis, was supported by his commander, Don Nuno Alves Pereira. John I, as he became, superseded the existing monarchy because he alone was able to stand firm against the Spanish. The Avis dynasty began its ascent in international relations by seeking a stable alliance against Castile. In 1386, John I married Philippa of Lancaster, granddaughter of Edward III of England. He signed the Treaty of Windsor, which was to be the bedrock of Portuguese diplomacy until well into the 20th century. Infant Don Henrique, known in English as Henry the Navigator, was the third son of John I and Queen Philippa. He became commander of the Military Order of Christ, which was responsible for maritime expeditions bringing Portuguese settlers to the islands of Madeira, the Azores, and off the west coast of Africa, the Cape Verde Islands and São Tomé. Within the space of 100 years, Portugal became a colonial power and dominated world trade in corn, cotton, and sugar. During the reign of John II in the late 1400s, the Portuguese began their heavy exploitation of African gold. They also took slaves to Portugal, and this slave trade later enabled their successful colonization of Brazil. It was John II who cleverly signed the Treaty of Tordesilhas, in effect keeping the Spanish colonization of Latin America to the west and leaving Brazil to the Portuguese. In 1488, the Portuguese discoverer Bartolomeu Dias made the first voyage around the tip of Africa, known at that time as the Cape of Storms. John II then renamed this the Cape of Good Hope because it opened up the world to the east of Africa and the passage to India. By all accounts, the experience at the time was stormy rather than hopeful. The sailors believed that in the angry storms overhead, they could see a muscular, monstrous being with an evil, menacing expression. They named it Gigant Adamastor. In 1495, Don Manuel I came to the throne as 14th King of Portugal. His reign was to be a golden age of untold prosperity as the wealth of Asia began to pour into Portugal, the richest country in Christendom. Manuelan architecture includes many nautical references in its elaborate stonework, particularly the monastery of Jeronimus, and in churches dating from the early 1500s. Another leap forward for the Portuguese Empire came in 1498, when a small fleet commanded by Vasco da Gama reached the coast of India. From then on, Indian pepper and cotton, Indonesian perfume and spice, and Chinese silk and porcelain were all in circulation back in Portugal.